Cafe. Anyway.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to FF episode 2437. 2437. It's Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hey, the week is over. Now it's time to enjoy the weekend or do something relaxing. And if you don't do that, it's perplexing because you need to relax sometimes. Life is so short. If you don't enjoy yourself, you're going to snort. Well, here we go. Episode 2437 here in Podcastro Valley, Mont.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Cafe, anyway, last place on earth. What? All right. I've announced the name of the show.
Mike's
Today,
Daily
Selena Gomez.
Podcast.
Actually,
Yeah!
mental health. Selena Gomez went to the White House to talk about mental health. And we're going to talk about mental health a little bit. I want to say a real quick thing here. Just something to pull out of the Bible. A quick little verse. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. That's from Proverbs 17:22, the Old Testament. So yes, drieth the bones. A broken heart. You want to have a merry spirit. You can't be positive all the time. I was talking to my lovely lady friend about how you don't want to be, it's tough to be optimistic. It's good to be realistic, but try to be positive. But you can't put too much pressure on yourself. In this life, we put too much pressure on ourselves as it is. But just go, you know what? I'm going to do it. Whatever comes to me, I'm going to deal with it. And if you are a praying type, perhaps you would pray for creativity and having the brain and the know-how to deal with problems creatively so that you can get through them and learn from them.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The podcast picture today, oh, you had to just ask, didn't you? You had to ask, and now I have to find it's going to be one from a recent thing that I did. Just like yesterday's picture had to do with chemtrails. So let's see, today's picture, which are actually contrails, because chemtrails don't exist. But contrails, we'll do... Oh, so someone that I work with told me, hey, you never posted pictures. Oh, wait a minute. This is a nice one of the moon. I'm going to do that. It's the late, great Basil the Boxer, and I will post a podcast picture of him from a couple years back. The late, great Basil the Boxer. And we will post that soon. Mike'sDailyPodcast.com to see the picture. And this picture was a little earlier this month. The moon was out. It was a beautiful evening in Podcastro Valley. And you can see it at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. Podcastro Valley, a lot of people don't know where that is exactly. It is in the East Bay. It's Castro Valley. It's celebrating the rodeo days. I don't make it out to the rodeo that much. And that just reminded me that when I drive to Dublin or Pleasanton this weekend, I'm in for a world of hurt because that traffic jam along 580 is nuts during the rodeo. They usually have this huge American flag that's suspended by a crane. It's so big, and it distracts the view. The drivers in the Bay Area aren't used to seeing that much patriotism in one place. Plus, it is a very large flag. I mean, it's, you don't see them that big that often, so people slow down, slam on their brakes, bump into each other. It's very distracting, and I'm sure the people that fly that flag, they better have some good lawyers because they're going to get sued. But that's how it is in Podcastro Valley. So that's where we are, near somewhere between Oakland and San Leandro and Dublin and Pleasanton and that whole thing. So, this is the month of mental health awareness. And there are some things to remember to support your mental health. You should move, eat, drink, and sleep. While these items are natural to many people, the idea is for utilizing them in a more mindful state. That is according to Jennifer Jones, a licensed professional counselor who's been in practice for 12 years. And Jennifer also says our bodies and minds are made to naturally move. When we find ourselves fighting against the movement, we find ourselves fighting against self-care. Movement allows you to be able to go in the direction of what creates reconnection with mind or body, whether that is exercising, talking, or even simply getting up from a place of stagnation. Oh, those places of stagnation. That can lead to all kinds of problems. Places of stagnation, and the idle hands are those of the devil's handiwork, something like that. With movement comes growth and development. Movement also produces hormones that counter stress. It counters stress. It counters anxiety too, which we have a lot of in the world. In the same way that our body is meant to naturally move, our body also needs a set amount of time to recover from that movement. So sleep is the way in which our body demands that rest time. The important thing to remember about sleep in regards to mental health and self-care is that we should create and maintain a sleep routine. Eating and drinking provides our body with the healthy nutrients and fluids needed for us to do our daily tasks. The nutrients release hormones our bodies need to keep the mind and body healthy, which is the basis of self-care. For mental health, self-care in times of stress or anxiety, warm or soothing foods such as warm tea or soups help bring some calming effects. Understanding your relationship with food is a basic necessity of being able to understand how food becomes self-care rather than negative self-soothing. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. Practice positive self-talk. Be kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself is one of the purest forms of self-care, but it can be rather difficult to cater to yourself in this way. Everyone has inner monologues that speak throughout the day. The idea is to force that monologue to speak positively. Talk about you to yourself, or a professional, or a friend. Talking things out is a promising tool for most people, but it's important to be mindful of who you are speaking to. Talking about yourself in the right environment and with the correct intention is helpful in being able to show who you are and grow in your own self-love as well as what you love. Growing your personality in a healthy conversation about yourself is most beneficial when you are able to express who you are and what you love about yourself. Finding a healthy balance in how much you talk about yourself, don't be a narcissist, and how much you listen to others is a normal process of growth, and you want a healthy amount of both. Have you not listened to someone lately? Are you just only talking about yourself or only thinking about yourself as someone is talking to you? That's not listening. You also want to be aware of whom you are talking to and if they are there to have a positive conversation. Set realistic boundaries and stand on them. Boundary setting is a very real issue for many people, whether it's at home or work. Setting a boundary of what you will do for your own self-care and then standing on that boundary to have consistency will make you stronger in being able to maintain boundaries with others. When setting boundaries, it's important to identify what is yours and what is not. If it's yours, then being able to own it and set a boundary of what is okay with you and what is not will be most beneficial. Once you determine the two sides of the boundary, you'll be better equipped to set the boundary line. Boundaries are yours and based on what you want, not based on what someone else wants. It's important to communicate what is okay and what is not okay with you in the situation, and then clarify on where the boundary is for yourself. Own your stuff, the good and the bad. The thought behind owning your own stuff is to build you. The idea of owning your good stuff is appreciating and acknowledging the positive in your life, the things you are doing well, and the areas in which you see things working in a positive way for you. The idea of owning your bad stuff is knowing that there are areas in which you would like to grow, or areas that that are not working for you. When you do not allow yourself to own your bad stuff, you can become grounded in habits that do not allow you to pat yourself on the back, and the negative self-talk grows out of this. When we blame others, we tend to push it aside and not see a need for our own change. When we experience things that repeat negativity, that becomes mentally draining to one's self-worth. And finally, control what you can control. Control is the idea of making things happen in the way we want. In certain areas, control becomes a draining cycle we can get stuck in because some things are not ours to control. Identifying what is yours and what is not yours will more easily define what you can have in the way that you want. Control often is a zone of safety for people. People often feel safer when in control because they feel more certain of the outcome. And value yourself. To value yourself is to know that you are worthy of respect, love, happiness, and success. While there are plenty of ways to keep yourself mentally sound, those ways I just mentioned can help you create a great launching pad to good mental health. And this, if you want to read more, came out of Yahoo News, but also Blavity. Is that Blavity? Did I read that? Is that right? Blavity News. And if you don't know, Blavity.com is a website. And it's got news, op-eds, lifestyle, video, Blavity U. There's Blavity TV. And if I'm saying that name wrong, please let me know, because it may not be. This is my first time seeing Blavity, but now I know, and I'm going to keep aware of it. And thank you to the doctor with all that great insight, Jennifer R. Jones, a licensed professional counselor, I should say. By the way, Melissa Harris Perry is no longer on the local NPR station, which is kind of sad. She had a show that was on PRX, so not necessarily an NPR created show, and not the other one, the Minnesota Public Media, whatever they are. No, it was done by PRX, or done independently. She'd have guests on, talk about current events. She is no longer on at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. So they've replaced her with the show All Things Considered. And Carl Jackson, who is a conservative talk show host, has been replaced. He replaced Larry Elder when he left, and he was on for a while, and now he's been replaced by a new conservative talk show host. The only problem I had with Carl Davis is someone that I've been on his show, Carl Davis Jr., and he has a show on a radio station in the Bay Area called KDOW. Saturday afternoons at 2:30 on KDOW, AM 1220. No, he's a great guy, Carl Davis Jr. But Carl Jackson had this issue. And if I could have only, I heard the show. I never had the chance to talk to him. I should have called in to tell him this. The guy did this thing that I cannot stand, where you're trying to express a thought, and rather than just say the thought and go through the processes, the steps, and saying the thought in all of its points and all of its grandeur, instead you back up and say it, and back up and say it, and then you back up and say it again, and it's like a car. You remember when your grandparents sometimes drove? It's that. And it drove me nuts. It's like, get through the point, Carl, please. That's all I had. Hey, we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley, Mont. I might have backed up and said the same thing twice. Oh, well. Look who's here. Hello, Michael Rash. It's Madame Rootabega and all that was very fascinating and helpful. Oh, good. Look who else is here.
Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, Bison Bentley got a new haircut there.
Yeah, look at my hair. Do you know that? Wow, it's grand. Look at the grandeur of his hair. Madame Rootabega, do you like his hair, Bison Bentley? Yes. Do you know who Bison Bentley is? Yes. Do you back up your car, go forward, back up, go forward, go back up, go like that kind of thing? No. Oh. Good. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer. Call me and tell me what you think. 336MM Daily. Call me now, 336MM Daily. Or email me, mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com, and more ways to contact me. It's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!